Hi everyone, I'm Rusty Dog. Welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm recording this stream as a separate entity in that it's not being recorded live as such. It is live to YouTube, but it's going to be put out after the flight's complete, because if it's going to be a duff flight, then there's no point. So the fact that this video is being watched now shows that it didn't go too badly after all. So let's get it underway. Yesterday I did a live stream with Microsoft Flight Simulator and the Airbus to fly from Gatwick to Amsterdam Airport, Amsterdam Schipol Airport, and everything was going very, very well in the flight planning stage, the cruise phase. But when it came to the descent and the approach, I kind of lost my way, and even though we got landed, it wasn't a good landing. We didn't land completely on the runway. So, since yesterday up to now, I've done some research and I've learned a fair bit. How much I've taken in is another matter, remembering it all, but I've been exposed to a lot of information now about landing this plane and how to read charts a bit better and stuff like that. It turns out there are actually two methods two methods you can use in order to calculate when to descend. There's a very simple method by taking your altitude, multiplying it by 3, adding a little bit, and that will give you how many miles you need to be away before you start your descent profile. Now that's great to use that method. Is great to use inside say an Aerosoft CRJ that maybe doesn't have a top of descent calculator. This plane does have a top of descent calculator, and so the other method is to make use of that, but to do it properly. So I'm going to give this a try again and see if what I've picked up in the last few hours has helped. So, okay. As I said, we're not flying out of Gatwick this time because Gatwick produces some terrible frame rates. I'm going to see if I can address that. I think my Gatwick may be third-party software. If it is, I'm going to remove it. It may be payware. Again, if it's payware, which I think it is, again, I'm going to remove it. It's just too frame rate heavy for me. And if I ever get a 30 series Nvidia card, maybe I'll be able to use it again. I don't know. Okay, so I guess we'd better get going. Now then, I'm going to need only Navigraph today. But in the meantime, before we do that, we'll get the plane fired up and running. And I'm going to turn the game volume down because I noticed on yesterday's stream that the sound of the plane was quite loud. So I'm turning it down a little bit, so it doesn't become too overwhelming. So let's get the batteries on and the external power on, and we'll get the ADIRs lined up. Now I'm just going to try and get through this fairly quickly. When I came in the plane today, we did have some rain, but that has since died away. And what else? We don't need anything else at the moment. We'll put strokes to auto, put the nav lights on, and do that. And I'm not ready for APU yet. So fuel pumps can stay off for the moment. All good. Okay, so I guess I'm happy with that. Down here then, we're just going to increase lighting on the displays to get going. Alright, so IR alignment in 1 minute, that is when the GPS will kick in, and while it's doing that, we'll just carry on increasing brightnesses of things. because it's a bit of a dull day. We are using live weather, which is what I didn't do last time. Probably didn't help the fact that I was flying at night and wanting some inclement weather conditions. But yeah, today we're just going to fly normal. Okay. Right, so we need to get into the MCDU here, and first thing is to bring in the flight plan from SimBrief, and let's just ask for that, and there it is. We're flying KLM 267. We're on a Dutch plane, BGSS BHAM, and that's that. Now we're going to the first initialization page to actually import the flight plan into the plane itself, to the flight plan here. Okay, so wow. Okay, we're only going to be flying at 19,000 feet, cruising. Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting, and I quite like that. That makes the descent a little bit easier, because the Airbus from Fly-by-Wire doesn't yet have VNAV. It's a feature we're all waiting for. With VNAV, the aeroplane will control its own descent, but until we get that, we have to do it ourselves. So that's why we need the top of descent calculator tool. So yeah, this is good. So if we look at the flight plan, we'll go through. It kind of looks very basic. There's a discontinuity there. I'm not going to worry about that yet. I'm not going to tackle that quite yet. Yeah, it kind of looks okay. But now let's go into Navi and just check out what we want. So Stanstead, and I think we're taking off from, where did I put the paper? Runway 22. So we want okay, I just needed to get that screen off. It was it's quite distracting. So runway 22 then, where are we? Where are we? Where are we? Okay. So there's the runway. But I don't know which one it is. That could be it, but I don't think so. I don't know, maybe. Okay. Just have a look at something a second. There are trees on approach. Okay, well, we're going to be taking off from that actually. So SIDS. Runway 22 departure. Oh, that looks okay to come out of there and go up. Yeah, I think that's not too bad. If we look on the map, actually, to do that, I'm going to have to transition back, and I don't know if the map's going to display what we want here. Yeah, we do kind of want to go, because I think Amsterdam is kind of upwards, isn't it? So we kind of do want to circle up that way. Yeah, okay. So this first one here wouldn't be too bad. Coming off the runway here, and then just coming off the runway and then just going up and around. Yeah, let's carry on looking around. That's for a runway 04 departure. We don't want that. That is also a runway 22 departure. Now that turns us in and goes that way. That's also acceptable. following Zigar and then D28 over to the Clacton. Have a look at this. Also a runway departure. That's going in the wrong direction for what we want. Let's try Lambourne. Again, wrong direction. No, that's going west. So it's either going to be Clacton or is it Barkway, this one? Barkway. Okay, let's choose Clacton, I think. And we need to be somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 by the time we hit D28. These are all waypoints, aren't they, I think. So Zigar, so we go Zigar and then up. Okay. So let's do that. Let's program in that departure and see what happens. So let's go to Stanstead, go to departure, and we want to take off from runway 22 and want to use the Zigar. Oh, actually it's not that one, is it? It's Clacton, sorry, is the one we're using. So Clacton 8R departure, which is this one. And what have we got here? Are these the transitions? So why isn't Zigar on there? What am I missing here? The other ones are all these D16 stuff. Okay, let's just insert what we have. Okay, so Zigar has come up. Okay, that's good. That's very good. All right. So next, let's go to Schipol. And we want to be landing on runway 18 right. So pick the star for that. Okay, let's have a look at the approach. So runway 18 right, ILS approach is here. Runway is 13 feet above sea level, I think that is. That's the threshold for 18R. We've got a decision height 50. Is that 5? Obviously, yeah, 5,000 feet. Is that 5,000? It can't be 50. It can't be. But there's two altitudes here. One, these are for Cat 2 and Cat 3s. If you're doing a Cat 1 landing, in other words, I think that's a manual, then this is your decision altitude. Whereas an auto landing, you can have, it looks like lower altitudes here. So here's the airport. This is the entry coming in. It's 18R. So we know we're coming in ILS 18R, and the star we want for that, let's see, here we can find one that looks like it would be useful to come in from where we were. Which was the one we had yesterday? We had a decent one in yesterday. Yeah, this one. Red for Luton Sogol. And then we pick up from, then the approach links us from Sogol into the runway. So yeah, I think this one, Lamzo. So we'll do this one. Red for Sulut Sogol. And then we've got these, I think these are called transition points, are they? Lamzo and Molix. But you can come red for, I don't know if these are three different, like you can go red for Lamzo, come in that way, or Molix that way, or whether you just come in straight that way, which is what we want. Don't worry, In my head, I know what I'm thinking. I just can't get it out into the world. Okay, so destination. Let's have a look. Eham and arrival on ILS 18R. We know that for sure. And there's R and RN. I'm not quite sure what the difference is, but if anyone knows. And now we want to pick red far, which looks like to be this one, via, let's see what choices we have. Sugol, that's the one we want, via Sugol. There we go. So approach at 18R via Sugol using the star red bar, or red F1A as it's got here. That's what I want. Insert that into the flight plan. So what we'll do now is move this into flight plan mode, just so we can check our route. It looks like, oh no, there it is. Okay. So let's run this through. As we see, this is our departure, and then we have a little bit of a discontinuity there, but we'll fix that. Okay, let's just clear this continuity, discontinuity. Let me just get in a bit closer. Clear. Boom. Okay. Looks like we have two the same. Is that normal? So let's go through here. Keep going. Ooh. Now then. ¿Qué pasa? What's going on here? I'm not sure I've seen this before. Why do we have... Yeah, I thought it was weird that we had two of them. Now, I think these numbers, I know this says 6,000 and then back up to 19,000. I believe these are the constraints, as opposed to the altitude you should be flying at. I'm just curious as to why we have two of these and what happens if I delete one of them. Okay. I am going to delete one. It looks... What if I delete the wrong one? I'll have to put a new approach in. This is... Yeah, let me just look up the thing first. ZGAR. ZGAR is our... I know it sounds like I'm confused, and I am a little bit because I've never seen this before. I don't know what... There's three different lines going off here, and I don't know what the plane's going to do. I'm going to clear one and see what happens. I'm going to clear the top one. And then I'm also going to clear the discontinuity. See what happens. Yeah. Why do we have two lines? I don't understand. Let's get rid of the other one. And the discontinuity that follows. Okay. So let's step it back. Oh, somebody please help me understand what's going on here. I don't know what the plane's going to do here. Zoom this out. Mega zoom. These is that another CLN? Why do these keep appearing? This is a new thing. I've not seen this before. these CLNs, but they seem to be messing up the flight plan somehow. See if I can just clear them. I don't know if it's the correct procedure to clear them, but it would seem to be. Oh! Oh no, this is not our... I thought that was a top of descent marker. I thought that would be cool to have that in. Maybe they do, I don't know. Alright, so let's follow the flight plan again. So we're going to go that way, that way, that way. This is the experimental version of the plane, so I'm guessing maybe those CLNs were a bit weird. Shouldn't even have been there. Now, what the F is going on here? That's taking a very strange turn of events. We programmed in this this exact route yesterday, and we didn't get this. So let's try this again. We know we want to get up to... Let me carry on here, see what we got. Yeah, we know we want red VAR. We know we want that. And we know we want to go... Did we... Why is Dibru ringing a bell? Let's select Dibru. Again, that looks... No. Let's go through a couple of them and see if we can get something. The display's just gone blank. I don't understand. Oh look. So Sugal. Via. Get it back down to where we were. This is this is extremely strange. This does not match up at all. I don't know why, guys. Honestly. Did I look at the wrong chart? Let me have a look. It's possible that I just looked at the wrong chart. I'm using the one that we did yesterday, but it could be that the runway we're coming in on is a different one from yesterday. I can't quite remember. See, these stars don't... Let's have a look at the approach a moment. So 18 right ILS is... You can see we've got 3 runways that are vertical, almost. And we're using the leftmost runway to come in this way via Pivos. Dibru, Pivos, this is where we need to be. Dibru. Sugal via Dibru and Pivos. That's the one. That's the one. So the star hold on. Let me just, I need to gather my thoughts here to make sure that we're doing this right. Okay. I'm going to give this one more go. So Dibru. So red far via Dibru. Let's just insert that and see what it looks like in the flight plan. So I'm quite happy with all of this, but not this. This is absolutely bizarre. And Again, I don't know why we're still tracking a yellow line here. Dibru, Pivos, perfect. Something's happened in between. Sugol, Dibru, Pivos. Sugol, Dibru, but it's not. It's going down to another point here. It's taking some strange route. I don't know if this is some kind of bug. This red fear thing. Let's try one more time. EHAM, arrival on tasks me, ILS, and I want to go down here, check these. Okay. So Denu and EEL, just going to check those. So Denu brings us to, well, that's not the right one. We want Lamzo, I think. Isn't it weird how one day you can do this and it's just fine, and then the next day it isn't? Okay, insert please. Alright, now let's have a look. Again, I don't know why we've got the yellow dotted line. I'm sure there's a reason for it that I don't know about. Let's run through the flight plan now. Sugol, Dibru, Pivos. Thank you. We cleaned it up. Again, the yellow line is still there. Again, I don't know why that is. Oh, it could be. Could it have something to do with this? Yeah, it's cleaned up now. Alright, I told you we'd get it sorted in the end. I think we are leaving south, so I'm happy with the flight plan. Took a little while, as it always does for me, but we got there in the end. Alright, so back to the charts then, because we need to go to back to Stanstead for a moment and take a look at, is it reference? Overview? No. Runway 22. No. I need to find out, where do you find out about the transition altitude? What chart is it on? Taxi? I don't think so. Again, these are just things I need to get familiar with on the thing, on the with this. So I think, can it be here? Threshold, glide slope. Where do you show transition altitude? It does actually say the words transition altitude. That's runway 22. Not that it matters. The both transition altitude should be the same for both, I believe. Where do you find transition altitude? Due to interaction with other routes, do not climb above 4,000. That doesn't necessarily say that the transition altitude is 4,000. Max 4,000. It doesn't tell us that. There's so many charts. I don't know which one. Sorry about this, guys. Show overview maybe? I don't think so. Runway 22. No. This is how we did plotting our departures and arrivals yesterday. There is a chart that tells you. I'm sure it's the one that has the elevation map of the runway. Thank you. Here, transition altitude, 6,000. Holy smoke. Right, these are important things to know. Alright, so transition altitude is 6,000. So we'll just stick that in here. Speed, well, we'll set that later. I want to get it into managed mode really. But the other thing we need is, while we're in flight, I think we need to look at information about the approach and the winds and the weather and all that kind of stuff that we need to program into the plane on the way in. Also, we need to look at the transition altitude of that as well. I think it might be an idea for me to find out the transition altitude now rather than panic later. So if we go to EHAM and we want to look at runway 18 right, transition altitude is 3,000 feet. Okay, so TA 3,000 feet on the way in, and the decision altitude with a Cat 1, this is assuming a manual landing, is 187 feet. Does that seem a little low? The decision altitude is the point by which you need to decide whether you're going to pull back up and go around in case of an issue. If you're localized, 690, you're coming in manual, I guess. Category 1 is autopilot, right? 187, and then category 3, category 2 is probably an auto landing. So let's go with 187. And you've got to add 13, or is that already added? It's already added. So if you take 13 from that, this does get added into the calculation. The height that the runway is above sea level. Okay, I'm just going to go by these figures then. So this would be, you know, when the plane, on your descent, when the plane calls out minimums, that's what this is. So we're going to put 187 with the decision altitude. We program this in later, and then the rest we can just do the weather. I think the plane will put the rest in for us, I presume. Let's see. All right. So I guess we can now start fetching the passengers on board. I'm not going to bother doing the whole jetway thing. So let's do weights and balances. Okay, so we'll get everybody on board. 145 people. Balance between these rows. All good. We can do a weather request right now. And now we'll set our performance. I can't remember how long the runway is, but I'm pretty sure flaps 1 will probably suffice, but I'm going to use flaps 2. And before I go any further, I'm going to fuel the plane up. So on SimBrief then, I should have loaded this up a little bit earlier. I'm going to check our block fuel and try and be as accurate as we can. Also, you can get the weather off here if you have a SimBrief account. So load in the flight plan from SimBrief. There you go, look. So now you have the weather. 1005, 1003. So that's cool. So we can actually program 1003 into the plane right now. Say is looking it up. Actually, the printout should match what we've just asked for. Let's see if it does. Go to ATSU and AOC and receive messages and METAR 1003. I've never seen this before. I don't know what these lines are. 1003 and 1005, which is exactly what this said. So yeah, you can get the weather via this, or you can get the weather via this, however you wish. So block fuel then is, go to the flight plan, and we have 4389. Okay. So see, here's the thing. We don't have the correct fuel on board right now. But I'm reluctant to put in the performance figures. There's the transition, 6,000. I'm reluctant to put them in until I've got the fuel load in. So I'm going to actually go and load this fuel up, because I think this is the way to do it. Again, why is the block fuel different to what this is? 4389. So basically, I'm going to go 4.4. Okay, now I prefer to go here and fill in the performance. Oh, wait. It kind of helps if you do put the fuel in. What was it again? 4389 was it, I think? Yeah, 4389. Okay, so let's do that. Let's go to 4389 and refuel the plane. Okay, a little bit more fuel than it had already. And I'm going to ask it to recalculate this number. As you can see, it has gone up, but it does make a difference. It's got a bit heavier, so we need a little bit more speed. Yeah, I mean, fine. But then we would come back here and go to the second screen. But we've done this already now. So we need 0.2 of fuel for taxiing. 200 kilos, I guess that is, for taxiing. Think of that, 200 kilos of fuel. And as for the approach phase, we'll do all that later. Hopefully I'll get it right. Okay. I'm hoping... Oh no, that's not even there. I'm hoping we can put a waypoint in here and we'll get a bearing and distance to it. Because I'm going to want to start planning my descent. We've got PBOS, and then this THR18, this is the threshold. So I think by PBOS, I don't know now. Let's not do that. Let's go to star. Oh, we chose Lamzo, didn't we? So yeah, Sugol. Sugol, we need to be somewhere between 10,000 and 7,000. So if I choose 8,000 feet, I want to be there. I want to be at Sugol at 8,000 feet. I should say it the other way around. I want to be at 8,000 feet when I hit Sugol. So how do we do that? don't know if you can type it in here. I don't know if it works for waypoints. And even if it did, would it, does it do it for any waypoint anywhere? Or do you have to be close to it? Or does it work it out because it's on the flight plan? Oh my god, it does do it. 141.9 miles. It does do it. Ah, that's brilliant. Okay, so we're going to be flying at 19,000 feet. I don't know what the speed's going to be though. I'm going to do a manual input in... Oh god. Ground speed, I don't know. We'll have to figure this out when we're flying. But basically I'll put in my altitude 19,000 feet, target altitude 7,000, and then maybe I'll change this angle to minus 2.5, and then it'll give us a distance, and it's the distance from Sugal that we're going to have to start descending. And also there's a way of calculating if your rate of descent is correct. And hopefully I'm going to get enough time to tell you all of that. So if we remember, our QNH for takeoff here is 1003. Just double check that. 1003, good visibility, 5 knot wind at 280. See, this on the way in, right now we'll probably get an updated weather report, but the winds are complicated. Of course they are. Of course they are. Why would they be anything less than? 200 degrees, 18 knots going in. So we'd program that into the plane. Temperature, 8 degrees, and pressure. These all get programmed into the MCDU on approach. Okay. Let's fire this up. So, let's engage the fuel pumps. One, two, three. Not going to engage the seat belt yet. And I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready to start the plane up. Oh, I'm not. There's always little niggly things that I forget. I think you can do TA right now and then TARA when you're in the air, I would say. Predictive wind shear on. We're okay now. I think that's enough for now. Yeah. Alright. I hope I've not forgotten anything. Particularly to throttle back, to climb. Now, getting to runway 22. Yeah, I'll have to use a little nav map for that one. So I'm going to... Oh, I'm sorry. I do apologize. Stop screaming at me. You didn't miss anything. I just flicked a few switches overhead. Sorry about that. When you have a... When you're not transitioning between screens and you're just enabling a window on top like this, it's easy to forget that you're doing it. So, forgive me. I don't yet. I'm not in that stage where I can manage a perfect video. Something's going to go wrong. I'm just loading up little nav map, which it claims it's already running. And it is. Must have been running all night. So runway 22 then, there is the plane. And so I need to taxi. I think I would just go that way. Okay. Right, I'm ready. Oh, and so is the rain.
Cockpit to ground.
This is ground. Stand by.
Are we all done up here? No. Wish me luck. I keep optimistically wanting to go up and hopefully flick a few lights on and stuff.
Okay, sir. The bypass pin is installed. All doors and hatches closed and all ground equipment is removed.
The parking brakes are set. You may lift.
Parking brake set. Lifting the aircraft. Standing by for pushback.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead.
We are cleared for start and push. Parking brake set.
Okay, cleared for push start. Please release parking brake.
Parking brakes are released.
Commencing pushback. You can start the engines in sequence.
It will start in the sequence.
Okay, so as we're getting pushed back, we'll now begin engine start. So switching to ignition, and engine 2 is on. We have a plane taking off right now apparently. Okay, and we need to turn our steering wheel to the right. Time comes. Weather is pretty crappy here, but we'll be fine. Sounds like we've got a good start on that engine, and we do. Firing up engine number 1. Start on the engines.
Okay, pushback completed. Please set your parking brake.
Parking brake set.
Parking brake set. Lowering aircraft.
Ground. Startup is complete. You may disconnect.
Roger. Good engine start. Clear to disconnect. See you at the side. Have a good flight.
Holding position waiting for the visual. Thank you and goodbye.
Alright, let's get this tucked away. And we'll turn the engine selector back to normal. And just going to check on engines. All looking good. Left engine still needs to come up to temperature, but all looking good, good. So APU bleed is on, doesn't need to be on anymore now that we have the engine started, so we can turn that off. And the APU master switch can go off as well. No portable devices, and yeah. I always wonder though, when do you start putting the seatbelts, or ask passengers to put the seatbelts on? Do you do it before you taxi? Just in case there's any potholes in the road. Alright. So I'm going to taxi to our first right-hander, and then we take a left, and then a right, and then a left, and then we're on the runway. Ready to go. That's the plan. Let's go. So the rain is sporadic. It came and then it kind of went and then it came again. And now I think, do I take this right? Yes, I can take this right, or I can take the next one, but I think I'll take this one. Yeah, it's a miserable day here in England. Surprise, surprise. So we take this next left, and then the right, and then the left. And as you can see, the ECAM, the top ECAM there, is now telling us to do final checks, which I like to do just before I get to the runway. And it would be the point where if you were using ATC, you'd be requesting takeoff clearance. I'm not bothering with any of that. Oh, okay, I'm going to have to wait. There's a plane coming in, it looks like. So I'm definitely going to have to wait. This is something that ATC would tell you. So we're just going to have to wait here. The last thing I want to do is get in the way of an incoming plane. So we'll watch it come in and then we'll perform our pre-flight checks and we're good to go. Landing lights on. Actually, we probably should put ours on, but see what the weather's like at Schipol. Wow, look at the moisture. Is that moisture coming off the plane? That'll be pretty impressive. Okay, I'm hoping there's not going to be another one. I think we're going to be clear now. Alright, so let's get the... I need to zoom in more for it to be accurate. So brakes on, ground spoilers armed, and cabin check, flaps into takeoff position. Okay, so flaps into takeoff position, and we'll do the let's do the cabin check. Actually, let's do it later. We'll position ourselves on the runway. Once we do that, by the way, any planes wanting to come in will have to go around. Oh yeah, they're not just going to land, they will actually divert and go around again. Some guys on the runway. Don't think I quite centered that up, but we'll see if we can do that now. Yeah. Plane's not that compliant once it has a bit of speed. Okay. We're not quite lined up, but I'll fix that.
Flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff.
Okay, let's just double check. Takeoff config is normal. We are ready for flight. Transition altitude is set, speed and heading are managed, and we are flying to the left as soon as we take off. Okay. Safe flight. V1 and rotate. Positive rate of climb, so gear up. autopilot. See if it will just... Now it's flashing leave a climb, even though I'm pretty sure that's exactly where we are right now. Yep, we are in the climb position. But why are you flashing at me? There we go, that's satisfied. And we have rain again by the looks of it. So, distance to destination then, or at least, yeah, 208 nautical miles. So once we get on this little straight bit, we've got a little bit of a thing going on here. Don't know what that is. Why is it got pink at 5,000? Is that, oh, it's the constraints, it's obeying the constraints. That's fair enough. It's obeying the constraints? Interesting. Okay, let's unarm the ground spoilers. And we'll risk the fact that we can take off the seatbelt sign now. Still in the climb phase. Now, the descent. Well, it's a bit early in the flight yet. We need to get to our cruising altitude. But there's our distance to Seagull 140. But we need to get up to 6,000 by the time we hit this. So, I'm guessing the plane's going to actually do that. Is it? I've told it to be at 6,000. Right now we're using 250 because that is correct. That is the speed. You have to be under 10,000 feet. Once we go past the transition altitude of 6,000, you can switch the QNH to standard. Okay, this one also says 5,000, so these are constraints. These are the constraints we have to fly at. Is this actually sticking to the constraints now? I don't think I've seen this before. Okay, well, we don't need runway lights anymore. And we don't need taxi lights on. No, I should have switched them to takeoff there, shouldn't I? I'm happy with everything else there. So, when we pass D267P, the constraint here is 6,000 feet, so I'm expecting the plane to climb when it gets past this point on its own. Is it going to do that? I don't think I've ever seen it do that before. That would be interesting if it's sticking to the constraints. Is this some kind of VNAV? Is this early days of VNAV? Or am I just talking rubbish? Well, in 2 nautical miles we're going to find out. Have you noticed how it says 5,000 and then FL60 and not 6,000? That's because above the transition altitude it becomes flight level, below the transition altitude it's altitude. Is it going to go up now? 6? Or does it wait until it gets there? It shouldn't do. Why are you not climbing? This is interesting. I just want to see, I want to just leave it alone and see what happens. 6,000 may be the maximum you're allowed. And 5,000 therefore does obey that maximum. But the next one is rat low, so now we need to go to 19,000. Yeah, it's too difficult to press the button with the mouse here. Oh, that was not right. Ooh, neither's that one. There we go. I wonder why it stayed at 5. I mean, we did check on the charts and the transition altitude was in fact 6,000. So as the moment we get past 6,000 feet, we'll switch the QNH to standard. And then we'll be using flight level as opposed to altitude. Yes, these are things I've learned in the last, I don't know, what would it be, 12 hours? Okay, we're now past, and as you can see the plane's telling us, hey, switch to standard. Will we do that? And up we go to 19,000. Once we're cruising at 19,000, I'm going to begin my approach calculations, because it's a fairly short flight. Once we get above 10,000, the plane will be allowed to increase its speed, and we may have to monitor that on the way down. So one simple way to calculate when to descend is to take your flight level, let's say 30,000, multiply it by 3, gives you 90,000. Take off the zeros, except for 1, you get 90. Add 10. Just for a bit of leeway, and I think also for the aircraft to allow for the aircraft to descend and to slow down and stuff. So add 10 and you've got 100. So 100 miles away from the point that you want is when you start to descend. Map partly displayed. This is, I've never seen that before. Map partly displayed. What's that all about?
Traffic.
Yeah, we're fine.
Descend.
Oh, the plane's doing it on its own.
Clear of conflict.
Whoa! Where's the other plane though? Above us? Because it said descend. Wow! The plane did that on its own. And that is your TCAS. It's a good thing I just had that switched on into TARA. This is what happens when you don't use air traffic control. You don't know where you're going to send yourself. Look at this. It's done this on its own. Can I put this back into managed now? Because it's decided to use... Oh, wow. Alright, so let's take a look. The speed is 290. We're going to be slowing down by then anyway, but let's just go with this. We'll go to calculator, top of descent, and we'll sync up this. This is our speed, this is our altitude. Actually, we don't want that, do we? Target altitude, as we said, was going to be 8,000. And the degrees, how do I get into, is it here? Yeah. So, my angle is 2.5. But this is going to change because we need to sync it with the plane. And it's all based around Sugol. If we go back to Sugol here, I want to be at 8,000 when I get to Sugol. So once I hit 19,000 feet, it should get represented on here. And then we'll know when to start descending. Based on our current speed, but that does change. Now, to calculate your rate of descent as well, there's a way to do it to make sure you're on target. When the plane is descending, it's going to choose a rate of descent. And I think the way to simply calculate whether it's close to that is to take your ground speed, let's say 420, divide it by 2, that gives us 210. Multiply it by 10 gives us 2,100. So 2,100 would what would be the descent profile, the VS. So we would, if the plane's not doing that, we would manually program that in here. Oh God, I hope I've got all this right. Oops. Right, you can hear the engine settling down. That's, I mean, look at these clouds. Wow. That is some seriously impressive stuff. Okay, so now we are at 19,000 feet. And it's already synced up. We've got the, actually no, we don't need to do that. So, at 41 nautical miles, I think I'd probably prefer to go 45. When we are 45 away from Sugol, right now we're 81, then we can start. Right, enter destination data. Okay, we go into, is it performance? Yep. Go to next phase, which is descent. Next phase, which is the approach. Right, so the QNH on the approach is 1005. 1005. We can get all this off the fly pad, but you can also get it off that sheet of paper there. So the wind is 200 for 20 at 8 degrees. Oh, that's changed. It's 1004 now. Okay, we better alter that. 100 keeps us up to date anyway. Okay, temperature is 8, and it was 200 for 20, so 200 20 goes in there. Transition altitude is 4,000, as we know. This is VR, that's our approach, right? Now the baro on the radio, the baro is your, what it is. It's something, you get that off the charts. Same with the radio. I don't actually fully remember what that was. The baro, I'm probably not gonna remember it off the chart, to be honest. Let's see. Isn't it the same as the decision altitude? I'm just looking on the chart. I won't bring it up unless I find something significant. And if it is decision altitude, why is it called baro? I'm just looking at the chart, guys, so bear with me if I'm just a little bit silent. On the course, does it have the course? The final approach course is 182. If we go back a phase, does it tell us that? Where does it show the course? CRS. surprised it's not showing us the course here on the approach. I thought it did. How far from Sugal? 58. We better keep an eye on things here. I think I've got everything in that I need. I don't know. The other two things on that side I'll have to brush up on and try and remember where to get them from. Oh, yeah, I've got it. I've got it. I think I have it. I'm going to try it anyway. Here, where it says... Oh no, maybe not though. I thought it was this 690. Is it this? Minimums. Yeah, minimum 500. Is that it? Oh. So help me. I think it's 500. I'm going to put it in. And the radio, I don't know. I don't know. This is where it would call out minimums. Our minimum decision height, right? I don't know. But that MIM, I don't think is that. It might be. I'll continue to look up and research and refresh my memory and stuff like that on this kind of stuff. Right now I just want to focus here. So we're 50 miles out and the calculator said 41, so I'm going to wait for 45 and then I'm going to descend. I want to leave myself just a little bit of leeway because so there you go, Barrow 500 comes up there. I just hope it's correct. If it isn't, I don't know what difference it's going to make. I think it just is the autopilot maybe tell it when to pull out of a certain phase. I don't know. It's all guesswork. It's all guesswork. So right now we're 47 away. I'm going to start programming the descent in. And let's start doing that right now. Now, let's see what the descent phase is. So right now we're 394, let's call it 400. Double that, 800. Sorry, divide that by 2, 200. Multiply by 10, 2000. So this at least needs to say 20. Right? I don't know. There's 20. So anything above that is good. And as you can see, it says descent. And speed, we want to be descending at 270. Let's bring that down. .270 is the descent speed, I think, the correct descent speed. Now it's gone to 06. Is that while it corrects its speed? I don't know. If we feel that we're going too fast or whatever, what I could have done on yesterday's stream was simply just apply some speed brakes. Apparently on the Airbus, when you're using autopilot, anything above 50% speed brakes is ignored. And if you're in manual mode, if you're flying the plane yourself, then you have 100% speed brake. So let's hope we're going to hit Sugal. So we are now 40 away from Sugal. It says 41, so we're already down to 16,000. But hopefully we'll nail this. And then the plane needs to get down to 250 by the time it gets under 10,000 feet. So we'll just keep an eye on that. Once we get under 10,000, switch the speed down to 250. Once we get under 4,000, which is the transition altitude for Schipol, then we need to change the barometric pressure to 1004, I believe it was. And it is quite rainy outside. I was wanting to program in a flight with, you know, with the weather being, you know, bad visibility, but it looks like we have it anyway. So, thank you, real weather. Look at this. So yeah, this video is basically all about me learning to descend and land correctly. I don't know what map outly displayed is, or the reason why. See, we're supposed to be under flight level 23,000. Well, we definitely are. There ain't no doubt about that. I think what I'm going to do now is just increase this range. And it certainly looks like and I want to try and be on a constant descent as well, so when we get to Sugol I want to continue descending. Sugol's got 5,000 as the limit by the looks of it. So we can actually take this down to maybe around 6 then. That doesn't comply with what the map said, the chart said, but anyway. And then by PBOS we want to be at 2,000, so that'll be my next thing to program in. Is 2,000 once we get to, or once we get near Sugol. We're heading down to the 6,000 feet. Still maintaining 270. Not for long. And then what I can do is I can go into here and program in PBOS and then do another calculation from 6,000 to 2,000. But if I just keep descending on this same rate, I'm hoping that I will hit that in anyway. Engine anti-ice, okay. I'll put that on as well, so it's detected ice. So we're going to put those systems on. I mean, I can't see anything. I'm going to have to maybe see in visibility like this. You would not be allowed if you cannot see the runway by the decision altitude or the minimums, I think, then you have to abort. You have to abort if you're coming in manually. If you're using a auto landing, I believe you are allowed to continue to land. This weather is absolutely atrocious. So let's have a look at PBOS. We're 50 miles from PBOS, and so if our target altitude for PBOS is going to be 2,000, and the current altitude, oh, there's the sea. Oh, that reminds me. So guys, I've got other stuff to take care of here. And we're going to be at, let's say, what was it now? 7, 6? I can't swivel around for some reason. Probably because I've got an input on the screen. Yeah. I've lost all screen input. There we go. 6,000. So. Oh my god. This is scary because it doesn't want to. Sometimes when the text is flashing here, when the cursor's flashing, it doesn't allow you to move the camera around. So we need to allow 15 nautical miles away from thing. See, look, there's the constraints. Under 10,000 but above 7,000. And I've got 6,000, which is not correct. So we are flying too low. Terrain. Too low. Terrain. But we'll keep it at 6,000 even though we shouldn't. And then once we are 15 nautical miles away from PBOS, I'll start going down to 2,000. And hopefully we'll pick up the localizer and then the glide slope and in. Dibru is probably the best point as opposed to PBOS, but hey. We are low. Visibility is slightly improved. And we're at 6,000. So we're not under 6,000. So I don't have to use the QNH yet. Once we start descending to 2, then yeah. So the next thing we'll be doing is descending down to 2,000 feet. I won't tell it to do that yet. Yeah, I think we're 1,000 feet lower than we should be. So this is our current speed, 308 knots, which, as you can see, complies with our ground speed. This is our airspeed. So we are complying with regulation, 250 knots under 10,000, and we're just about to hit Sugol, after which we hit the decel phase and then debrew. And it hasn't filled anything in here with regard to altitude, so I'm assuming we're still supposed to be at that range. The Sugol says 8,500, but that's just I think that's just the top of the constraint. You've got to be below that or on it. Let's have a look. Sugol on the chart. Oh, okay. Flight level 10,000. You have to be below 10,000 or above 7,000. So it's kind of stuck it in the middle there. That's what that number is. Okay, that's fair enough. So this one we'll do on the nose, the Sugol one. So 25 miles we are out, 15 nautical miles is what we need. I've probably talked so much crap in this one. Once we go past debrew, it'll actually tell us here how far we are from Sugol. The thing is, when we get past debrew, it might only be 5 miles to Sugol, and that's too late. That's why we need to find out what it is here. It's 22 to PBOS and 22 to debrew, so they're pretty much in the same spot. So it wouldn't have mattered whether we put debrew or PBOS in. Yeah. I'm going to try and perform an auto landing, I think, or at least get set up for one, and then I might take over at the end. But I want the plane to capture the glide slope and descend on its own. Right, so there's PBOS, and as you can see, it says plus 2,000. So we need to be above 2,000 really. And then by AM 621 we need to be at 2,000. So I suppose I could put 3,000 in per P-bus, in which case I'd have to change this. And now that means we only need to be 11 out. And then we need to drop another 1,000 by the time we get to AM 621. I actually could program in AM 621 here. AM 621. That didn't work. I hate it when it does that because sometimes it's quite time critical. Like now. See, and one wouldn't go in. It's just being a pain in the arse. So 15 nautical miles, and we are 13. So please start descending. Come on, plane. Now would be a good time. So we're doing 312, so 310. So that would be 150, 155, 1,500. Yeah, so we've got 1,600 here, so we're good. Okay, and now we're going to switch the pressure to what was last reported, which was 1004, and it is still 1004, and also speed staying at 250. I think I'm going to enable manage mode on that now. If we want to get down faster, we can use faster speed. And if we're going too fast, then we just employ speed brakes. So I'm going to hit the localizer here. It's picked it up, and then once we turn around, it has got the glide slope, but I want to wait until I'm under 10 nautical miles in, and then I'm going to switch on the approach phase. Oh, this plane needs to descend. Category 3 dual lock. I'm hoping it's gonna, yeah, it is, it's taking over now. So I am going to bring down the landing gear. And go back to the flight plan. Flaps 1, which we should have already been at, but we're not. So flap 1 there, and then once we get to AM 621, we'll hit flaps 2. So we've got 3 nautical miles and we're going to hit flaps 2. Oh, please do this right. Still at 3,000 feet. But the plane has the glide slope, so it should be able to take care of itself.
2,500.
When we hit 2,000, the plane should be able to carry on descending. So when we hit AMS 621, we'll be going flaps 2. Does it tell us? I don't think it tells us when to go flaps 3, but think we're okay at the moment. Okay, what do we need to do here? Spoilers armed, flaps full. Well, we don't need to go flaps full yet, but I am going to arm the spoilers. If I can see the damn thing. Cabin checks and the seatbelt stuff is later.
Flight attendants, please prepare for landing.
Once we get past AM 621, I'll see where it says F. Is that where we deploy the next set of flaps? It could be. I don't know. What I could do as well now is going. Well, we've got 6 nautical miles still, so I'm going to wait. I can't land in this weather. The airport wouldn't let me anyway. The plane is descending, as you can see, despite the 2000 here. It's starting to descend. I know there's a point where you know when to change the flaps. Like, is there a certain mile out that you do it, the mile marker? Maybe 3 miles. Maybe 3 miles out I'll do it. Full flaps. Because we're not there yet. We're 4 nautical miles out from the airport. Can't see a damn thing. Nothing. So I'm guessing the plane's going to nail it, even in this inclement rainy weather. So rain and no visibility is exactly what I wanted yesterday. I think I'm going to do, once we get under 1,000 feet, I'm going to do it. Or maybe 1,200. I don't know. Yeah. Now we're on full flaps.
1,000.
Can't see the runway. Can't see a damn thing. So the plane is it's on that purple arrow, which I think is exactly where it needs to be. Where is the runway? Dear aeroplane, please know what you're doing. Thank you very much. I've got some kind of lights. There it is. Is that it? Or is that it? Is that it? Or is that it? Is that it? Or is that it? Is that it? It's this.
100 above.
Minimums.
500. Minimum.
There you go. Minimum. It's what we put in on the barrow.
400.
Considering the weather, I'm going to let the plane do this. Although I could take over, to be honest now. I've got the runway in sight, but I just fear I'm going to mess it up.
$100. 50, 40, 30, 20, retard, 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 retard.
So we hit a bit harder, which is probably good in this weather. Once we get down to 70 knots, we're going to release the reverser. Reverser off, release brakes. So I did in fact take over. Now I don't know where the hell I'm going. That was okay. The descent was okay, and amazingly, I did choose to descend a bit sooner, going into heading for Seagull, but at least it calculated it correctly, because we ended up below where we should have been. But part of that was because I put 6,000 into the altimeter instead of 7. So I was a little bit under the constraints. I would put the wiper on, except for 2 reasons. 1, it's noisy, and 2, yeah, it doesn't really do anything. Don't worry about that. That's just me throttling back. What are you whinging about? Oh, slat's not in takeoff config. Well, this is a new one. I should have put the auto brakes on as well, coming into land. Why is it doing this? Oh, okay. Okay, let's just clear what we have here. Yeah, it says auto brake to max. Takeoff config, flap spoilers arm. That's for takeoff. We're not in the takeoff phase. We're not in the takeoff phase. So where am I parking? I'll be honest, I'm quite happy to leave it here. Another screenshot. I'm just to decide which one to use for the thumbnail. Yeah, I'm just going to park it over there. Because oh, I tell you what, little nav map. Little nav map will tell me where I am, where I need to go. Oh, I see. Okay, we have a little bit of taxiing to do. Yeah, remember yesterday we had to do the same thing? Let's do that. So, well done, plane. Oh, I've got to get the anti-ice off. See if I can do that without crashing. Right, so we're going to continue until we have to take a little left hand. And I know. You don't have to tell me. I'm just going to do it myself. Coming in, because I do get myself a little preoccupied with stuff, and so I end up forgetting to turn lights on coming in and stuff like that. And it's because I'm so focused on what I need to do. And what's the other thing I need to do here? Lights and there was something else I wanted to do. I forgot what it was. Oh yeah, APU. 1, 2, 3, go. Let's carry on till it says APU available, and then we'll put the bleed on. So we've got the generator running when we shut the engines down. Yeah, so the wiper makes a noise and it doesn't clear the rain off. It's not very good for that. Now then, I think I carry on straight. Yeah, it's an option. You can carry on straight or not, but I will. We are going a little bit too quick. this left. Trying to manage so many systems. You don't have a co-pilot to do it for you. Well, that was a better flight than yesterday, I would say. Especially considering the weather conditions. I mean, you would pretty much need an auto landing or something like this. Wow, the sound of that was incredible. Because we dipped down. Imagine me going too quick over that part. I'm not quite sure why we've got the landing phase stuff here. I don't know. We certainly went past the approach phase. This is, sorry, the takeoff phase is what I mean. We've got plenty of fuel still. We've got half a tank, considering if not half a tank, but we've got half as much as what we put in. So, I have to be careful here. I don't want to take this left. I want to take the next one. So it's not this left, but it's a slight kink off to the left on the next run, which is these green lights here. So we need to be turning left now. Just going to brake a little bit just to keep the plane in check, or checkmate. And now there are parking spots all over. Going over a runway now. I hope nothing's coming. Didn't check that. Now I can choose left or right here. I'm going to go right because there's more parking spaces away. Coming up to all the parking area. I want to take a left hand. It's quite a run into Amsterdam, you know, taxiing, all the lights and stuff. Man, this is real weather. Surely planes are not being allowed to come in here. Maybe they are. Okay, so not this left, but the next one. Right. Right, so is it this one? I guess this one. Okay, now all we have to do is look for a parking space. So I think if we twiddle to the right here, is that one on the left? Do we have one there on the left? Possibly. Maybe I should be getting outside and having a look. It'll do. I mean, there's a vehicle on my parking spot, but that's the pushback thing. Well, you could push me forward, I suppose. You are in my way. Is it? It's not. I don't think it is the pushback. I'm hoping he's going to have the good sense to bugger off. There he is. Okay, so we've got the APU on, so we can start shutting down engines. Now, there is no jetway here. And I don't know if we can summon the stairs. I mean, there is a stairs option here, but last time I tried this, nothing. Oh, okay. Is it going to move though? Or is it waiting for something? Well, passengers, we hope you've enjoyed your flight. Do fly Rusty Airways again. The safest and most reliable airline. That's a nice sun. The sun, when it goes through the clouds, is a little bit iffy, the way it looks. But like it does here, it looks fantastic. Oh, the stairs move up, look. Very nice. Got to get the baggage off as well. So rather than blind everybody, we'll take the landing lights off if I can reach them, because again, mouse pointer on buttons, bad. Don't need the runway lights on anymore. Beacon off. And I'd probably call the fuel truck as well, because that's certainly something that we need. And there's your thumbnail. But that kind of gives away the end of the flight. So yeah. Alright, so passengers can disembark now. And that's it. That's our flight. Finally. Took a few goes to discard that, but we got there in the end. Alright, it's starting to rain again. Look, I'm not going to go through the procedure of shutting the plane down here. It's kind of pointless. So, but anyway, thank you for flying Rusty Airways. Hope you enjoyed flying along with me today. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I am so close to 6,500 subs. Please help get me there. And I appreciate all your support as always. So until the next time, there's another screenshot. I bid you farewell. Catch you on the next one. Bye bye for now.